But hey, they got cocaine trending on Monday because they said that Don Jr., his eyes look blurry on the skate. It must be cocaine. I go, well, but the guy that got thrown out of the military for testing positive for cocaine, Hunter Biden,
Yeah.
You know, whoa, he didn't even deny it. You know what that was? you know what happened? You know what just happened there?
If you could fix anything, if you could fix a freaking thing, why didn't you do it in the first half a century of your career? I mean, I've heard of late starters, Stephen. You know, I know guys that take a little while to warm up, like 6 months into a job, maybe a year. He's been there for half a fucking century.
All right, you know him, you love. Well, it's a love-hate with the next guy. We love. But some people hate. And you know what? It's wrong to hate. It's wrong to hate. But I'm sure a lot of people are going
Trump's
to
hate.
A lot of people are going to hate the title of his book. It's Liberal Privileged Joe Biden and the Democrats' Defense of the Indefensible. You can follow him on the Twitter at Donald J. Trump Jr. Mr. Trump Jr., how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, man. Good to be back with you guys.
I don't know that that's true, but I appreciate it.
It's courteous.
I have fun. We make some headlines. I drop some bombs. It's fun. I feel like the venue. I can do.
Is it just me? I can't be the only one. I know a lot of other people are already making the jokes, but like, he always seems so faded in every one of these. Like, it seems like it's getting worse. By the way, it seems almost like it's like, all right, yeah, we got like 4 interviews to get through, and then he's just like, he blasts off, and there you go.
Do a little bit more than I can on conventional TV, yeah?
That's true, and that's this is going on tonight. Obviously, you were there the first night. I want to ask you, what is the vibe, before I get to kind of your book, what's the vibe there on the floor at the convention right now? Because it's so radically different from anything we've experienced. There are no people there. How would you describe it?
Well, there is no vibe on the floor because there's basically no floor. It was sort of interesting. I mean, I'm delivering a speech, and I do a lot of that. I'm pretty good at the retail stuff. I want big crowds. I feed off of it. I go totally unscripted. So instead, I'm in literally an empty auditorium. There were like 3 camera guys, but it's a massive auditorium, empty, reading a teleprompter. I go, man, this isn't my wheelhouse. This is Joe Biden's wheelhouse. Empty seats. Teleprompter. I mean, I was like, wow, they're trolling me. They put me in.
Why is this all landing? I don't understand it. I keep like, it's one of those things where if there's no laugh soundtrack, I don't know when the punchline is. I'm genuinely like, oh wait, sorry, that was the joke. Okay, all right. Oh, and they're all laughing now. All right, well, just have at her, boys. Like, good day.
Joe Biden spot, but I guess I can be pretty comfortable there too.
That's what they did with his convention. They just told him that he was at the Hyatt Ballroom B in Poughkeepsie, and he was like, "Oh, that's my speed."
They just told him he won already, which is why he feels he doesn't have to make an appearance, do an interview, or anything like that. I don't know that he knows.
Right? No, I think that's a good point. Well, okay, here's something I want to bring up. I hate to dish or do inside baseball, but there's this article I'm sure you know is circulating with an unnamed source from the New York Times saying that Donald Trump Jr. is saying the quote is, "Dude, we're losing," and that you're scared. Is there any truth to that?
No, it's nonsense. I hear about all these inside sources. There's like 3 people I actually tell my real opinions to in politics, and I guarantee you none of them are leaking. So it's one of those nonsense things. They tried to make it.
Again, when was the punchline? Was it like, I guarantee you people aren't leaking my stories.
Like, oh, we're afraid of what they may do to us afterwards. Like, I don't know. I've been. They tried to throw me in jail for 3 years. Like, you think that could they do anything that they haven't already been doing for 4 years? I mean, you have nonsense attorney general investigations. You have announced conveniently on the first day of the RNC. Obviously, it has nothing to do with politics, Stephen. Nothing to do with politics.
Right, no, nothing to do with politics.
Just like they sued the NRA the same day that they announced their big ad buy for the campaign and for this election cycle. Obviously, has nothing to do with politics. I mean, it's pretty disgusting. So now at this point, I'm sort of, numb to all of that stuff. It doesn't even bother me anymore. We just wake up and we fight.
Yeah, and I would assume that they don't call you and ask for comment, because that's what happened with yours truly, with Mashable and The Verge. And I just call them and say, "Hey, Stephen Crowder with comment," and they go, "What?" I go, "Well, you're the editor-in-chief, Stephen Crowder with comment. You wrote a piece about me." And they get really quiet, and you hear them going through their papers. You can hear the proverbial shit across the publishing floor. Speaking of which, speaking of politics and timing, your book. It's about...
Well, they totally forgot to laugh there. That, or he's just like... He's pretty deep into it now.
Joe Biden, and it's about the swamp, and it's about the privilege of the Democrats and the indefensible. How did you get this? The timing, because you're cranking out books like the only person who cranks out so many books I know not named Dinesh.
Yeah, I like that. But honestly, I had no intention of doing another book. I mean, I did Triggered last year. It was awesome. I think I was on with you guys talking about it. And then I had no intention of doing anything else. But then, this lockdown happened, Stephen. I couldn't go to work. I wasn't able to campaign. I wasn't able to do anything. I was locked up at home for 4 months. And I started doing just my own research and started saying, we're running against this guy. And the media's pretending like this is a blank slate. No, Joe Biden, he's wonderful moderate. He's never done anything. I go, but he's been there for 50 freaking years. Like, what are you talking about? Like, there's got to be something. So I started looking, and what I found was, amazing and or disgusting, depending on how you look at it. I mean, there's so much information there that the media has just totally abdicated their responsibility to talk about. Nothing to see here. And I don't just mean, the Hunter Biden corruption taking, $1.5 billion from the Chinese government. But Joe Biden's going to be tough on China. That's $30 million a year in fees, by the way, to your viewers who don't know how funds work. I mean, there's a 2% management fee, $30 million a year to Hunter Biden from the Chinese government. I go on the record with a very big banker from New York who's talking about how many years, decades it took him to get into China and investment. And, they diligence everything. And, but they're giving crackhead Hunter Biden $1.5 billion in 5 days. He's like, it didn't happen.
We don't know if it was crack or run-of-the-mill cocaine. You won't be spreading rumors on my...
Oh, we're memeing a little close to the sun now, aren't we, boys?
My show, Junior.
Well, perhaps both. But
a
again,
speedball, really.
Donald Trump Jr. had a little bit of that. Hey, they got cocaine trending on Monday because they said that Don Jr. his eyes look blurry on the skate. It must be cocaine. I go, well, but the guy that got thrown out of the military for testing positive for cocaine, Hunter Biden.
But whoa, he didn't even deny it. You know what that was? You know what happened? You know what just happened there? Well, yeah, clearly my eyes are a little bit red and my sinuses have they've seen better days. That's all fair. But anyways, what about the other guy? That was crack. So,
Did you do a little cocaine? Did you do a little Colombian gold? No, nose candy? Was there a little?
If I took $1.5 from the Chinese government, it would be world news.
Oh, again, no denial there. Just completely skirts past it. Just gonna pretend like that question was asked or that joke.
Hunter Biden can take $1.5 billion, and there's nothing to see here. But then you have Joe Biden's health. I go on the record with Ronnie Jackson, who was the White House doctor. It wasn't Joe Biden's doctor, but he was the White House doctor, was around him, and this is a guy that was a medical professional, a Navy admiral, was brought in by Obama and said, listen, as an American citizen, I've seen this guy, and I've seen the decline in his mental aptitude. As a citizen, I'm just concerned. It's not the same. And by the way, if you don't believe me, just go look at a video of Joe Biden on the floor of the Senate 10 or 15 years ago. Yeah. It's not the same guy. This guy can't remember where he is 50% of the time, but we're going to give him the nuclear football because what could go wrong?
Well,
well, what is going on with your speech pattern, sir?
Barack Obama was basically a junior senator with no voting record. We pretty much knew that he voted president, except he was really, really pro-abortion. The reason that I think he beat Hillary Clinton in the primary is because of her support of NAFTA, and I know a lot of lifelong Democrats who just picked Obama because of that, and Joe Biden has the same kind of track record. My final question here, speaking of that, the Midwest, how do you think Team Trump wins this? Do you think it's Ohio, Pennsylvania, the so-called Rust Belt, or what do you think
it's
might
Florida.
Be the biggest surprise?
All Florida.
Well, listen, I like what I'm seeing in Minnesota. I like what I see in some of these states because honestly, Stephen, people are looking at what's going on and they're saying enough is enough. They're seeing riots, and I don't just mean in Portland and stuff like that, but look at what's going on in Wisconsin. I mean, that's a suburb.
Yeah.
This isn't right. And I'm watching, and the DNC last week, right? It was a 4-day, never-ending I Hate America Zoom call. It felt like I was watching a less intellectual version of my child's kindergarten Zoom. It was a mess. I guess they lost all of their production value ever since Harvey Weinstein went to prison. But true story. True story, guys.
I don't know that you can say true.
I love the up angle condescending schmear where it's just looking down upon everyone. It's yeah, I got some Harvey Weinstein jokes. Those are coming out soon.
True story, but I like
heavy hitters.
But here at the RNC, you're seeing, people who have lived the American dream, people who've experienced incredible stories and got to tell them in a place that honestly it can only be done in America. This isn't something that you could happen in Cuba. I mean, when you see, Max Alvarez the other night, when you saw, the Herschel Walker story, juxtaposed with Vernon Jones. I mean, so many of these speakers with these incredible stories, and be like, man, I'm watching this. It's like, this makes me proud to be an American.
Yeah.
Last week, if you like anything about America,
that's how it activates.
You're a xenophobe racist, obviously.
I wonder at that point they're like, okay, he's pretty wrecked. He's definitely pretty wrecked. That one wasn't even slowed down, by the way. I mean, come on, I've been so generous this whole time.
Makes me proud to be an American.
Yeah.
Last week, if you liked anything about America, you're a xenophobe racist. Obviously.
Wait. Was that a Mongoloid mixed with Arnold Schwarzenegger? I don't know what voice that was.
Yes, that's exactly.
do America. I don't know what it was.
Terrible people. You want to live you want a couple of your taxpayer dollars to go to your children rather.
Like, this is definitely, if I walked into a party and I saw two people speaking this way, I would be, oh shit, I am not going to have fun here. This sucks. Like, who are these?
Than to pay for college for illegals. Oh, it's so terrible that you would want that for yourself out of money that you've worked for decades. Oh, you're horrible.
Now there's a bit of Steve Zahn in there. This is a bizarre impression.
I like it.
I think that's a very good point. I appreciate that you pulled no punches here tonight. My final question for you is, what can we expect here at the end of the night? Your dad obviously is wrapping it up here tonight. You spoke, you gave a speech, the whole family. This is the last night for President Donald Trump, Pops, as you know him, to speak directly to the voters. Is there anything we should expect? Or you'd hope to see?
Listen, I think you're going to see a continued message of hope. A guy that, like all politicians, right? We're used to our politicians coming in and making promises like he did in 2016. He was no different than anyone else in 2016. Now he's actually delivered on those promises. He's brought back manufacturing jobs. He had the lowest unemployment rate ever. He had the highest new startup numbers, in the history of America for minorities, African Americans, Hispanics, women, everything. I mean,
yeah.
When did it become acceptable, Stephen, that the anomaly in our political class was someone who actually does the things they said they were going to do?
You know what? I mean, that's a good point. And as a recovering,
when did that become the anomaly, and why aren't we sick of the fact that it is an anomaly?
Yeah.
But no, Joe Biden, again, after 50 years, he's the guy. He's going to, no one believes. I don't think anyone's that stupid, including the Democrats. They like Joe Biden because they know that Kamala Harris is going to be in charge, and she's the extreme left that they love.
Yeah.
But they love Joe Biden.
The extreme left.
Because they can go to someone in middle America and they can try to convince him that he's a moderate. But he's not. You're not a moderate with Beto O'Rourke as your gun czar. You're not a moderate with Kamala as your VP. And you're sure as heck not a moderate with the Bernie Sanders Joint Unity platform that's on his website.
Yeah.
Joe Biden doesn't know where he is. He's a puppet over the radical left. But the media and the DNC, which, they're one and the same, right? There's not really a distinction anymore.
Good point.
They're one and the same, but they can paint that picture to middle America. No, look, moderate Joe from Scranton, minor details. He left when he was 7, and he's been an elected D.C. official since his 20s, but he's blue-collar Joe, guys. Yeah, run with that, sure.
And I love how they make it sound altruistic. Like, he left the private sector to serve his community as though he was good enough to continue clerking. It's like, come on, we all know what happened.
He was a terrible student. He saw that. He lied about it. That's not a problem. He can lie about it. He's a terrible student. Then he lies about those things. Then he runs for president every decade or two.
Right.
In '88, he had to withdraw for plagiarizing a speech. He plagiarized his own speech the other night. He couldn't run with.
He didn't remember.
He didn't remember. Because he doesn't know. He's Stephen, no, seriously. If you're a Washington,
it would be so condescending if it weren't true, but yes.
Yeah, well, no, but that's my point.
And even if Joe Biden, if you would accept that that he's a moderate, you cannot accept that Harris and AOC and Bernie and Warren and Beto O'Rourke are. So it doesn't matter. It's a moot point. The book.
Well, that's the game the media is playing, right? They want that because, again, they're trying.
So what is it, like 4 or 5 members of the DNC are going to control the entirety of the DNC? We've seen what happens when people believe that. They get crushed. They get crushed very rapidly.
Trying to paint a picture of this is the guy. But those are the people who are going to be making decisions.
Right.
No one believes Joe Biden's going to be. By the way, even if Joe Biden has his faculties, he doesn't have the strength to push back. Right? You saw his wife had to help him off the stage the other night. I mean, it's just different.
It's sad.
I'll agree there. That's the first thing I'll agree with him on. It's sad.
are God, I'm Wrath. We pray at your altar of awesomeness. To our monarch, Thomas Bone, you are the light that guides our path. To our lords, Jeffrey Lamb, Steven, Ninetails Cosmic Fox, Hans Josephine, and Poppy Nelson, we bow meekly for your pleasure. To our Knights of the Round Table, Josh Mickelson, Dylan Byte, Alexander Thaler, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, Todd Lajeunesse, Clement Chutzkoff, Sky Bear Games, Moss Beast, Political Puppy, Ali Menthol, Jimmy Big Nuts, Alan R., Andreas Chitoro, Good Poon Hates Cops, That's Solid Poon Man, and Bryn, we salute you. And to our many merchants and farmers, you have our undying love